Ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays. Welcome to STR Wrestling Review. I'm your host, Saber. Today we are here with a very special guest, one half of the Sexy Beasts former IWS World Tag Team Champions. He is the Triple X Sex Express. SeXXXy Eddy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I just want to clear something up. I did not pee myself. I was drinking water. I just forgot how to open my mouth, and I didn't drink properly, so I just spilled a little bit. But that's okay. And I want to say again, thank you again for having me because, like we spoke about it just before. For those who don't know, we did an interview before, but the whole system crashed. Like I don't know all the ins and outs of technology and how computers and all that stuff works, but I guess Saber told me that everything had crashed, lost the files. And I can understand because the same thing happened. There was a big show we did years ago. It was Combat Revolution Wrestling, and so they had three actually invites. This was our biggest show of the year called Adrenaline, and it was they had three former WWE superstars on the show. Three of them.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of flight money and everything. Anyways, the whole show was great from top to bottom. Something later happened, and before they could put it on DVD, the whole show raced. So and that brought in a lot of extra revenue because personally myself, I like to collect also as many as matches as I can. Either it was on VHS or on DVD or on Blu-ray, but it's rare that companies still do this because they usually just stream them. So that's the only thing. So I missed that big show. I did a big show against one of the WWE superstars, was Val Venus at the time, and a great match. But you know what? That is life. That's what happens, and so it is what it is. So take two. This one's going to be better than the original. All right. And again, I didn't piss myself.
Well, thank you for clarifying. Thanks for telling the fans that again. I know this one's gonna be at least twice as good as the first one. So,
Excellent. Every camera does end up being shaky. It's because I have my dogs in the house. I just decided to play ball while I'm doing interviews. So, again, what are you going to do? That's life.
yeah, well, that's alright. We love dogs here. And I gotta ask, you've had such a great career. How did you get into professional wrestling in the first place?
Sometimes it's an accident. That's the thing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know, first off, again, before Google search and all those things and those platforms to find information, we had to go to the library or something to find stuff. So that's how I did my school projects. But fast forward that, you're trying to find a wrestling school. You're looking in, so they used to have this big book called the Yellow Pages, and that's phone numbers of everyone and stuff like that. So you go through and look for phone numbers. If you didn't find it in there, tough luck. So one day, one of my friends, we were all wrestling fans, and we're in college and stuff, and one of my friends too was like, hey, there's some wrestling in this church basement and stuff, and so you hear from a friend, it's like all like word of mouth, so you passing it on. So we went to go check out a show, and we watched it, and we're like, oh my god, this is happening, in our own backyard and stuff. So we asked to do a training class and how that works. And they said, okay, show up next 2 weeks when we have our next show. We show up before in the afternoon, and we got massacred. We didn't know what we were doing. Of course, we don't know. We're trying to get a class. We're trying to train our first beginner's class, and they were asking us to bump on the floor, and so we hurt ourselves pretty bad. Maybe not at that moment because the adrenaline of just like, oh my god, this is. I'm touching wrestling. I'm the wrestling ring is right there. Like I'm learning the falls and stuff. But when you don't know what you're doing, or when you're not taught right away, again, I would say you don't do that on the floor. But this was the thought of the training of this school was if you can't take it on the floor, then you don't even deserve to get in the ring, and that was their mentality of it. So again, I was hurt for maybe 6 months, 8 months. I hated wrestling. I didn't even want. I was like, this is terrible. But that was my initiation into it. So again, fast forwarding to where I'm in college, and we wanted to do me and my radio host. We did a radio show. We had a lot of fun talking about wrestling all the time. We're like, hey man, what if we just fought each other? What if we just kick each other's asses? We whatever we don't know of wrestling, like we know everyone's finishing moves. So we just had a script with 4 pages of finishing moves, and on every week on garbage day, we'd pick up stuff, a trash can, an ironing board, broomsticks, all these weapons, anything we could find, a toaster. And it was all these things that we said, this is going to cover up what we don't know in wrestling. We just know what we see on TV, but we're going to try and do something. So this was at a student barbecue. There was food. There was bands playing. I mean, there was a lot of action going on. So we knew we were going to have the crowd. So there was about 400 people. And again, I don't know how we got out of that alive, because some of the moves, I still look at that today and I'm just like, oh, it's very cringeworthy. And that could have been the end of my career. But it did not. It was not. And then people were talking about it for months and months after, so much that a year later, they got a ring at Dawson College, and we did a show there. Again, I had no training. I thought that was going to be my one and only time. You know, I lived a little dream, and that's it. So they got a ring for the next show, because they had a professional wrestling. They did a whole show, not just one match that we did. They put a whole show on. And so I was in the main event this time, but with a wrestler who was in training, Heavy Max Fury. He was still one of the best in Quebec wrestling at the time, a great cruiserweight, and also one of the first to go to the States to wrestle in it was a best of the best combat zone wrestling tournament. So again, he's showing me what he learned in his classes and stuff, and we did our match, like, you know, from beginning to end. But there's a couple things we didn't tell the promoters. We didn't tell them that we were going to use thumbtacks at the end. There was going to be some blood. We didn't tell them that some of the things, we were like, why do we need to tell them? They might just say, no, you're not professionals, you're not doing this. So anyways, we did it all. And again, this was the talk of the college and stuff, because we went nuts. Like, I mean, I was bleeding that, there's that expression like Mick Foley had, it's the crimson mask, when it's that dark red blood that just covers your face completely. And that's what I had. So the promoter at the time was promoter from NCW, Bertrand Bear, who's actually the dad of the Diamond, Zach Patterson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so again, it goes full circle. But he was furious. He was furious at the time because we used these weapons. We didn't rent the ring. It was another wrestler that rented the ring to make money to put on the show. So he was more mad at him to not having told them that there was any weapons. But we didn't tell him. We didn't know all the rules. We didn't know how things work. So again, this was a big buzz. That also showed we had a battle royal with people that came in for 3 classes to do 3. If they could make 3 classes, they're in, and to sell 10 tickets, they're in the battle royal. And 2 of those people were 2 promoters. Again, where we all started, like IWS at the beginning, and now it's been split off. But there was me, there was myself, there was PCP Crazy Manny, who's now the boss of IWS. And then there was Nixon Stratus, who is now the boss of Main Event Wrestling. So, we didn't know we would be here 25 years later, but that's how it started I'm going to say 1999, April 1999. And from then on, the promoter didn't like me. He hated me. But a couple weeks later, I think he realized, hey, there's a good market here. We have a lot of francophone wrestlers on our shows. This guy has a good fan base already, and he never even did any training. You know what? So they accepted me, and I started training there, and that's where I got my training. My official training was with Mark the Grizzly as my coach at the NCW School, Northern Championship Wrestling. And as I was training there, I was showing Nick and Manny some of the things I learned on some crash mats I had at home, and we'd learn some stuff together. And then we would also have where we'd make some weapons, and we'd learn how to make weapons. And then we started doing our own show because we realized, hey, there's all these shows in church basements happening. and they're all like the hosts are in English, the ring announcers are in English. Everyone's doing promos the French, and everyone's doing the promos in French. We said, let's hit the demographic of there's a big Anglophone population in Montreal, and even then, when wrestling's even if you're whatever language you speak, if you're a wrestling fan, you'll watch Lucha Libre and you'll watch it in Germany, or you want to watch some certain matches. It doesn't matter how they're commentating. It's just you want to watch wrestling. So yeah, we would just like people would watch it in English on TV, but there was no live shows happening in English. So we decided to change that, and we did it in a bar. We thought, hey, a bar show is cool. People can drink. It's over 18. We could lift up the violence, and the same thing. We weren't the best. We were still learning a little bit about wrestling, but what we're going to cover up with what we don't know in wrestling psychology and how to wrestle maybe properly. We'll cover that up with weapons, and that will be our main event. That'll make our show different. So, like we said, there's alcohol over 18. We can do the violence a little higher up, and we'd be the main event that way because we didn't want to have to ask other people to do weapons and stuff if they didn't want to. And again, this was also the first show where some people were getting paid, and it wasn't much. It could have been $10, $20 and stuff like that, but it was just something that we believed in because they were like, why do we want to wrestle for you? Like we're already established in Quebec wrestling and stuff, or in the small area that they're at. But IWS was able to break that small barrier and go so further out to become even known worldwide through the help of a lot of different wrestlers and a great team. And that's the importance. I think it put a lot of eyes on Montreal, on Quebec, on Canada, Canadian independent wrestling. So a little story that started of us giving some $10, $20 to local wrestlers to becoming the big show that you were at the MTELUS Theater. It's so cool to see the evolution and the growth of something that you had a part in starting. So, we're forever grateful for that. And you never know when this crazy roller coaster will end. And a couple times, too, the IWS was like, how to hit big hits. Like, man, is it going to survive this? The pandemic, another one. Will anyone, all these wrestling federations, will they close up? But, again, we were able to roll up our sleeves and grind and push harder. And I think that's the importance. So, all that to say, that's how I started wrestling. That's 27 years later. I'm still in demand. It's crazy, and I'm still champs. I got a belt right here. I got the ISW tag team title, interspecies wrestling, and I'm the Ironman champion in Sorel for the Extreme Zone wrestling. So who would have thought?
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanted to talk about two of the things you said when you first started wrestling about the adrenaline. I remember hearing so many people saying when you hit the ropes, it hurts like hell. I got in a wrestling ring once, was hitting the ropes. It didn't hurt at all. I think that's probably because the adrenaline. And then also getting the weapons from the trash can. And now you're doing that with IWS. The fans bring the weapons, anything they want. That's just so amazing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, I think, hardcore type matches is the fans bring the weapons because there's a lot of surprises you get in there. And when you get the weapons before the show, you're kind of looking at them and it's like, it makes you think outside the box and like what kind of spots you could do with this. What kind of damage can you inflict on your opponent with this type of weapon? And some of them get thrown out because they're nasty. Might have something with rusty nails on it, dust or dirt. Like somebody had something in their shed and they're like, yeah, we could use this. And it's like, no, it's not safe for anybody. And that's the problem that you might see someone with certain weapons and stuff and they can use it in a spot. But what you don't see is if it takes 2 weeks because someone got an infection from a dirty weapon, something that just wasn't cleaned beforehand with peroxide and stuff, and so that's not fun. I guess it would make for a funny story if the guy's using weapons and ha, I not only did I beat you, but I infected you and you lost your leg. I mean, that would be a storyline that wow, that's something. But yeah, I'm those storylines. I just we just want to have fun and be creative at what we do, and this is my artistic outlet. This lets me do things that you wouldn't be able to do from Monday to Friday in the streets. I mean, how many places will they give you money to prance around in your underwear? Not that. How many places will pay you and cheer you on when you're smashing your opponents through a table and hitting them with chairs? Not a lot. Not a lot. So it's you do this in public, and I think you're going to go to jail for a long time. But in wrestling, it's anything goes, and that's the fun that we get to show everyone as we're doing it, and they get to share this adventure with us.
Well, I feel like any job where you just going around prancing in your underwear, sign Sexy Eddie up for that. So another insane moment was the Sexy Eddie arm incident. Gushing blood, you're drinking it. We talked about it last time. And you said, what's it called, an outer body experience, I think. Said it
Yeah.
was something like that. It was like watching just a normal horror movie on TV. And it only really clicked a few hours later when you realized you could have died from that. Were there any moments that came close to that?
No, I, there's always you have that in the back of your mind that hey, there's always a chance that if you miss your mark, your target on a from a balcony dive, or what if I land badly on one of these weapons? There's always a chance, and sometimes it could be as dumb as a you slip or something, or just you get thrown over the top. But there was a weapon. There was a weapon that this is my interview, not yours. There's a weapon that could be placed badly or something, and you land badly on it, you slip. I mean, I've had a lot of concussions, and that's something that's serious that I take more seriously now. But back then, we didn't really know. We just like you kind of off, or you just kind of oh, I'm good the next day, and that's it. So it's like that's and now they say how much you only got one brain, and if you don't have a good one, like already I want to keep as many brain cells as I got in my head. I've been drinking and partying too much in life, so I don't know how, so I want to keep the ones that I have. So that's the thing. There was a lot of head trauma that we didn't know much about, but yeah, I tore the ligaments in one of my shoulders at a shooting star press one
Oh
time.
yeah.
Kind of hesitated if I wanted to do a backflip moving forward, that's a shooting star press, or a senton bomb where you're jumping forward and just kind of doing a cannonball rolling and landing on your back on the opponent's chest. And I kind of just took a second to hesitate. Thank you. You're cleaning my belt. Polishing my belt right now. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of that moment of hesitation was what cost me. So whether you're wrestling a regular standard match or a match with weapons, it's I feel every time that I gotten injured was maybe I hesitated. So it's almost like when you go through something, you got to go through it 100%, and that's how I feel. When you're not sure of something, just don't do it. But when I was younger, I was like, I think I can, but I didn't practice it enough. I think I can, and then I'd get hurt. So yeah, that's the wisdom, words of the wise, from the wise. Only do the stuff for shows that you've practiced already and that you know you're capable of doing. The last thing you want to do is get injured, injure your opponent, and then have a match where it just ends flat. The crowd's not cheering or nothing because someone's gotten seriously hurt, and then you got to go for a nice ambulance ride and spend the whole night in the hospital until they check you at 7 in the morning. So that's never fun. That's never fun. You want to go out and have fun with after the show is done. You want to party and celebrate with everyone. That's what you want. You don't want to be in the waiting room. Yeah. So win or lose, you're a loser if you're stuck in the hospital and you're not having any fun. So That's it. Just do stuff that you're comfortable with. If somebody, a wrestler, even sometimes will try and, hey, but I can do this, I can do this. Hey, you know what? If you don't feel safe, that's all it is. That's because then you're gonna be hesitating. You're not gonna be sure. Something's gonna happen. There's gonna be a miscommunication, and someone's gonna get hurt. So that's my lesson, my good lesson that I'll give. One lesson per podcast. That's all I give. So that's that lesson right now.
You've also done so many naked stunts. We talked about it in the last one too. Have any of them ever gone wrong?
Um, so you got to make it look like accidents are planned, like it's a wardrobe malfunction and stuff. But so far that they've all gone. I want to say like 95% smooth. One time though too, I did lose my underwear against Matt Cardona, and that was at GCW in Toronto, and I guess maybe I didn't adjust my underwear enough, or little cuts and stuff, so that it rips off easier. And he's just yanking it away. Like I look like that. There's like a paddle board with a ball with a string, a rope, an elastic, and he's just pushing me, and I'm pulling back and pushing. And it wasn't until we finally got them to rip. So I mean, other than that, the thing you got to concentrate on the most is doing the things that you do, but keeping covered up. And again, I always say a butt's a butt. Everyone's got one, so I don't feel that anyone's going to be insulted by seeing a butt. But everything else, I try to protect everything. That way, I can watch the match with my mom, and she'll still be proud of me.
It's so insane that, you know, you're able to do these things. A lot of people, if they were asked to do these, if you're gonna ask me to do that, I don't even want to do the show. Would you gladly do it?
I'm the one lifting up my hand. But again, I learned things as I went through it. I know how to get certain reactions, and I know where to place certain things. So I think there's a time and a place for everything, and those were good times and good places for me because I knew there'd be a lot of eyes watching. I'm wrestling, let's say, a former WWE superstar, so already, if I'm in the ring with Zack Ryder, I know there's going to be a lot of eyes watching this. So I need to do something that hasn't been done, that hasn't been seen by the mainstream audience, that they will remember. And so you pick and choose. If you do it too much, I don't know if it'll become kind of like, oh, he does that every time. So sometimes some of my funny moves that I like to do, I try not to do them at every show because I just want people to be always on the edge of their seat. Like, oh, SeXXXy Eddy's in the ring. That guy's a lot of fun. You never know what he's gonna do. So that I think helps bring in people to the shows and talk about it to other people that are maybe non-wrestling fans, that if they don't just like a series of wrestling moves, they're going to see some entertainment and they're going to have some fun with some comedy spots. I like to call them cock spots or dick tricks. That's when I talk to the guys. I'm like, okay, which one am I going to do this time? So that's just something that is expected. Sometimes they throw it on me and, oh, we planned this for you. And I'm like, really? Okay, I'll do it again. But yeah, that's you gotta appreciate what the fans love of you, and it's like if you ever went to a concert and your favorite band is playing and you have that favorite song, their biggest hit, and the band would be like, you know what, we've played this song too many times, we're not gonna play it anymore, we've retired it. And everyone's gonna just be boo, we paid a lot of money to see what we want to see. You got to give them new stuff, but you got to give them the classics. So that's how I see a wrestling match. You give them some of the moves that they know, some of the things that they like of you, and then you could always switch it up, mix it up, put something new, and that's how I think every match should be.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that spot or that trick on Saturday was when you were like a magnet. Everyone was coming towards you. You put your fist in the air and scream, and they all go backwards. They were like around your junk. What was going on there?
It was a mess, a big hot mess. That's how I like it. No, that's the idea of sometimes you might create something, okay? You might do something, and then maybe you're not on a big enough platform, but other eyes see you, other wrestlers that are maybe in a better position than you, that are maybe on television. They see some of that stuff because some of them do watch what's going on in the independents, and it gives them some ideas. Now, if somebody sees something in the WWE, they're going to assume right away that this person created it. It's like you got wrestling fans and you got WWE fans. Okay, it's very different. WWE fans only know what's in the WWE and then that universe. And it's like when they saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on NXT, they thought that was their first match there. You know, some of the fans, there was already a buzz, but those were wrestling fans that knew the past. That not every wrestler is developed in the WWE developmental program. A lot of them, especially at that time, have a past and that have already been wrestling. They just kind of retrain you, reprogram you to do certain things more safe and stuff like that. So all that to say is that, yeah, like I say, not everyone comes from that. So some people will see certain moves that you do and then they'll take it. And if they get seen on the internet, it goes viral, then they get the credit for it. So it happened to me before with some of the things that I did. So I had to think outside the box instead of getting mad. And how do you get mad at someone who's making a lot more money and that's doing shows and everywhere? You know, if he took something of yours, it's like, you know what? I said, I can start complaining and whine on the internet, but what is that going to do? They're all going to, people are just going to be like, oh, this guy's just trying to get credit for something, whatever. I thought I need to invent something new. And so that made me realize that your brain, my wrestling hamster that's got to run on that wheel and keep running on that wheel to think of new ideas and stuff that's outside the box, that's different. So that's that is another original SeXXXy Eddy spot. And then, you know, now that I've showed that on bigger platforms, now if other wrestlers will do it, they'll still know that, hey, the credit goes to SeXXXy Eddy and stuff. So I look at it as an homage. And if somebody, you know, if they have a similar character, they have, and they do similar things as me, then that's fine too. I take that as a compliment. Yeah, that's it. As long as we're, you know, as long as credit is due, like, you know, when you do a project, you have to do your notes, you know, your references of what encyclopedias and things like that you took your information from, just so that, you know, you're I guess in music too, if you sample something, you got to give credit to the original artist, and then maybe you made it better, you evolved it, you sped it up, you slowed it down, you know, you put certain beats in certain places. So always give credit to those that you know, that inspired you and that could sometimes possibly lead you to do something great that makes a lot of people laugh and entertains the masses. So you know what? It's just it's nice to get credit when you get a pat on the back years later. And some wrestlers who were fans at the time at a show have now become wrestlers and are now on TV, and they tell you that, man, you changed my view of wrestling when I saw you live. It gave me more ideas, and it made me realize, like, hey, there's not one style of wrestling. There's many, and I'll do this comparison every show I do. Wrestling is so much like music, where you got your classic rock and roll, and that's like the regular moves that you do. Then you got like let's say death metal could be like the high flying stuff or whatever. Punk music is like, you know, hardcore. So and classical, you know, would be you're telling a story. So they're all music, but they're all very different. Just like in wrestling, there's so many styles of wrestling. But for anyone to say that's not wrestling, no, it's all wrestling.
Hmm. And that's the best way to look at it, in my opinion. And you know, every single wrestler can take some of your moves and evolve them. But one thing they can't take and evolve is some of the crazy stories and times you've been through. What is one crazy story that you could safely share with me?
Wow. Maybe you might have to give me a reminder because I'm trying to. And if it might have took some time to think of a safe story, but You remember what we talked about last time?
I don't remember the exact story, but I remember it was a story on the road.
Yeah, a lot of things happen on the road, and a lot of friendships are made when you're just driving and sitting and listening to some music and just talking and stuff. Because sometimes after so many hours, you're like, man, what are we going to talk about? And then you do that every month with the same people, and conversations just come out of there, and it's all fun. Hey guys, let's calm down. Or, you know, whenever I'm talking loud, they're like, there's a guest somewhere, so they think guests, and so they want to go and Hunter. Whoa. Okay, see, this is not a technical difficulty, at least. But, anything can happen in the world of wrestling and in the world of SeXXXy Eddy. Anything can happen. Okay, shush. Um, I think there's a couple road stories. I know that we've had some fun where we've even left people at gas stations and drove. Yeah, we're kind of like some people. They we've had some wrestlers where that they'll think they're late to kind of meet at the point, or some wrestlers. Okay, that's it. Time out, guys. Time out. Time out. Hey. Oh, well, I don't know what started this, but anyways, yeah, we've left some wrestlers at gas stations just kind of to teach them a lesson. We'll come back and get them 10 minutes later, but they're looking for the car. They're looking all over and stuff. And I mean, I even remember one of the wrestlers crying. Back dude, but he was like pretty new in the wrestling world. So don't want to name names or anything like that, but you need to have fun while you're driving. And some people sometimes need to learn little lessons of being on time and respect for others, because we are a group, we're a community, and all of us want to get to this show on time so we can have time to just relax and get all our ideas together and stuff. Some guys are better than others than planning doing stuff, but a guy like me, I've been taking too many chair shots, and I wanna work stuff out. I wanna be relaxed when I get to a place. So.
Yeah.
If you don't hear me well, we'll need to maybe take a pause. But if you're good,
We're all good. It's fun seeing your dogs fight. But yeah, I've been backstage at a wrestling show before, and there are definitely a few wrestlers that come late every single time.
and it's always the same ones. But
Mhm.
when you're close to where you're wrestling is fine. But when
Yeah.
you're against people that you've already wrestled with too, it's always easier. But when you got to drive and you're crossing the border and you got, like, let's say it says on your trip, like it says 6-7 hours to drive,
Mhm.
but then it's in the winter time, right? So that's gonna slow down the road conditions and stuff. And then there's, like, people got to stop and eat, people got to pee and stuff. So all these factor in to make, like, that the road trip could be a lot longer. So when someone's late on top of that, and you're a car of 4 people, and now you all got to be late. So it happens, but people will learn their lessons. So yeah, it's funny. Oh, we did this one was a good one too. So when you drive 2 people in the car, we have a rule. We try and stay awake. I'm terrible at this right now because I almost always fall asleep. I can fall asleep on a rock. But we did this where we were 4 people in the car, and when the 2 people, when the oh my, okay, just a second. No, can I take a pause for a minute? Yeah, leaving guys at the gas station. That's a fun one that we've done. But it all depends on the people you're with. Actually, one time it was pretty cool. We were just driving. It was a summer show, summertime, and we left in the morning, and we drove by, like, this kind of a little bridge and overpass, and there was some kids that were, like, jumping off this little bridge into the water. I mean, I don't know how high it was, but, like, still pretty high. Like, only 2 of us did it, but we're watching the kids, and we said, hey, you know what? We're driving back nice and easy. It's sunny. It's hot outside. I mean, I all got shorts on. Want to jump off this bridge? which that's the funny expression when they say, if someone jumps off a bridge, are you going to do it too? And I'm like, yeah, well, we did it. So two of us, we asked the kids, where do you jump? You got to aim for this, and you just jump in. So two of us did it. It was me and Chato from the Chato, who main event wrestling champ. Not anymore, but Yane Harrison beat him just a last.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so we jumped off. His brother said, "Oh no, I'll pass." And there was another girl wrestler in the car too. She's like, "No thanks." But we did it. We said, "You know what? That's really random." You know, we just said, stop. So it's fun also to stop at sometimes not always the same rest areas, not always a McDonald's. Stop at different places and find out in every city that you're wrestling or going to, hey, what's fun to do here? So I mean, that was just a little example. I mean, we just, it was kind of a whim of, right off the moment, like we just boom, let's do that. But yeah, that's fun thing is exploring your surroundings. Now every time that I travel to, I like to know if there's something else going on or whatever. Like it's just, why not explore what our beautiful country has to offer, what other beautiful countries have to offer too. So enjoy and live the moment.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk to you about another thing you did, which is so cool because you're the only guy who has done it. Sexy sauce. How did you come up with that idea?
So again, doing I've done a lot of bad things in life, right? So that's why I came to a point where I met my chef, my friend Eric. We met, and I saw him with an IWS jacket, and then I'm like, "Hey, where'd you get that?" And he said he noticed me too on the bus because he was a fan at first, and like, but he didn't want to say anything. He didn't want to bother me. And then since now that we know each other, I said, you don't want to bother me. I'm playing Angry Birds on my phone. Like, come and bother me, let's talk and stuff. So we started talking a little bit. We'd see each other on the bus rides going to work and stuff. And then one time he was just like, "Oh, hey, I made hot sauce. You like hot sauce?" And here, and I was like, that day, I like message him, and I'm like, "Dude, okay, I've had this idea in the back of my head for a while, and it didn't work out before. But like, what about if we do, like, we make our own sauce?" I wanted to do this in the States, but again, that was before the pandemic, and then there's different food laws and all this stuff. So a guy wanted to just put me on his label, like Bloody Eddie on his label, and just that's it. Like, I wouldn't have even tasted it. It would have just been marketed a sticker of a wrestler on it. That was the original idea, but that didn't pan out, but which made it even better. So once we started talking and we started mixing ingredients and experimenting with food in the kitchen and stuff like that, we came up with some sauces, 2 sauces, and then we said, "Hey, let's give the money to charity." Like, I mean, T-shirts, pictures, stickers. That all goes for me. That all goes helping the independent wrestlers. That helps encourage us to do what we do, and able to, like, justify that I'm spending on a weekend, but I'm making some money, because it's like, if not, I'll find something else to do that gives me a lot of fun and stuff. So, but the Sexy Sauce was a project where we started. We said, let's raise some money. We raised $500. We'll give it to. There is a charity. It's a soup kitchen that it's between. So me and my friend Eric, we live, let's say, 7th Street away, and the soup kitchen is pretty much from, actually, both our houses about 7 streets away also. So we said, let's help a local charity and see how that goes. And we sold the sauces super fast. People bought it just because it was to encourage. And then after that, they come back and they tell us, man, it was delicious. So that was awesome. And when we gave our giant oversized check, because we said, like, well, let's take a cheesy picture so that people know we did something good. We don't want it to be like, yeah, did these wrestlers really do this or not? So we did that, and we felt super good about it. We were like, we came out of there and we're like, we helped a small group. We didn't help a giant group that maybe they would be, oh, just put your $500 in the pile down there. We helped a group that we thought was small, and it helps in our community. And that's the best thing, is to help small, and then the waves go out and you're helping bigger and bigger and bigger. But like, trying, and she said, let's try and help local first. And so it went awesome. People were asking for more sauces, so we made more. We said, well, let's give to another charity. And so 100% of our profits go to the charities. But we did pay, we had to pay in the beginning, pay for bottles, pay for ingredients, and pay for the labels. So once we made that money back, we were like, okay, well, we have enough to give to another charity. And so we changed the name on the check. We did it again. And we did it again and again and again. And now we're at our, we gave to our 13th charity. So that's $500 each. So they're at 6,500. Plus, I've had a friend on Facebook that 5 times he's matched the donation that we've given. So he's put in 2,500 of his money because he follows what we do. And instead of giving to any charity, he was like, you know what? I like what you're doing. I want to help you guys out. So it's great how we're helping each other. We're helping communities. We have had donations of food too for one of our pepper guys gave us $400 in peppers. So we were like, well, what is there a charity that's close to your heart? And so he told us, and we gave to them. So it's like where everyone's helping each other. People now, our next charity is a group in Dorval, so it's not too far. I'm in Lachine, and it helps disabled adults work in a food kitchen. So they prepare meals for different groups that come pick them up, frozen meals, and for a lot of them, this is their last chance at a job in the workplace. So I was contacted though by a guy who was actually trained a little bit at the IWS dojo, and so he works in that kitchen, and he's one of the guys in charge that he really makes a conscious effort to again try and find suitable jobs for these big adults, but these kid in adult bodies, you know what I mean, to be able to function and give back and be a valuable member in society. So his job is to really find what they're good at and give them something useful to do, so that they just feel part of the community. So I really liked, our team at Sexy Sauce, we really liked that idea. And so even that he's donated to wanting to give us some time in his kitchen, he's like, hey, we don't use it on the weekends. If you want to do it on the weekends, you're more than welcome. So like I say, what goes around comes around, and it's cool that, again, something that we started so small with no big intentions that just grew and grew and grew, that now we're on our 5th flavor. When we started, we only did 2. We said, let's do 2 different flavors. And, we're on our 5th flavor. We got our 6th is going to be in the summer or in the long run. But again, it's going great. We've done 2 hot sauce festivals where I've also wrestled on these festivals. So it was fun because we're getting our exposure. They give us a free table since we're doing it for charity. And I get to wrestle and do that too, so and entertain. So right after my match, I come back to my sauce booth, and I'm in my underwear, and the people are just all around like, wow, this is great. Okay, it's not just the logo on the bottle. It's actually, that's the guy, and he's selling us his sauce. I want one of each, and it sells great. So we're having fun doing it. People are loving it and giving us good feedback. So as long as it's a fun thing to do, and we're having fun, anything in life, if anything in life is fun, that makes people want to keep doing them and stuff. Like, there's some stuff that is not as much fun, like school. I didn't know how long. I thought it was going to take forever that I was going to graduate from high school. I'm like, man, every day is so long, homework and this and that. And then once you're out of there, you realize, man, I'm getting older and older, and time is flying by. What I wouldn't do to go back to high school if I could. Yeah. Again, I would know a lot of bad things that I know right now and stuff like that. But you would have told me in high school too, like, hey, you're going to get to do wrestling, and you're going to travel to Japan, and you're going to go to Germany, and you're going to go to England, to Australia, to the Ivory Coast in Africa. I'd be like, what? So you never know the twists and turns in life where it's going to take you. But if you love something enough and it gives you a lot of pleasure and you have a lot of fun doing it, and it that you make other people have fun, like it's a great effect, that just butterfly effect, where it keeps uh, exponentially. It keeps going out, and if you send positive vibes out, you get that back, and you surround yourself with positive people. So it's really good to see that. And again, the sexy sauce thing. Right now we're sold out, which is it's like, oh no, but like we don't have time to keep up with the demand because again, we all have our regular jobs, we all have our regular lives, and it's the holidays for everyone. So we will be making more sauce in 2026. Don't worry, fans. But right now too, we just want to relax a little bit and enjoy that vacation that everyone deserves.
Yeah, that's so cool. To me, the unknown and very wholesome side of Sexy Sauce. That's so amazing. Everyone watching this, go support Sexy Sauce right now, because that's so cool what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's like I said, you realize things in life sometimes when you're older and stuff that it's like uh, I think I knew this younger too, but because my sister was in a wheelchair, and it also so she passed away when I was 28. She was 30, and I'm 47 now. But it's still you think about things and you think about the lessons that they maybe taught you to sensitize you that we're not all made equal. And um, I was like, sometimes we take running and jumping and doing the dishes, things like that for granted. And it's like some people can't do all those things and need assistance. So, if I'm able to make people laugh and do what I'm doing, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to entertain. I want to help. So I think we all have different life lessons that structure and give us our values in life. And that was one of them. And you only realize it later on how important it was to really to be sensitive for everyone, especially, I mean, anytime there's a show and I see someone in a wheelchair, I make that extra step to go and see them, make sure they're having a good time at the show and stuff like that. I just want to make sure that, everyone's having a good time. So, yeah, that's the sensitive, more human side of Sexy Eddy. You're getting that during, I guess it's the holiday. It's festive. It's a time for giving. So you're getting a little more. Maybe after the holidays, when I'm full of turkey and I'm grumpy and I'm like, oh man, I got to wrestle in my underwear and I feel fat today. Then maybe I'll be a little more in a bad mood. But right now you got the super happy Eddy. So real positive, and this is crazy because we're in the afternoon. Usually doing the podcasts are at night and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it's that time of day. Just the sun is out, sun's out, guns out.
Oh yeah. Well, that's so amazing. I'm so sorry for your loss, though. That's really hard, but it's so cool you make not only the people in wheelchairs, but really every single fan in the building have a great time.
Uh, Much appreciated. Thank you, Saber.
I feel like the word crazy has been used a lot during this interview, and the crazy stuff doesn't always happen while you're wrestling. Like TNA Slammiversary, we talked about that last time. The entire crowd chanting your name. You said you were a little bit buzzed and embarrassed and wanted them to stop. And another crazy thing that happened was at an AEW show. I wanted to ask about that because it looked like you were escorted out. What was going on there?
So it's not the first time that you've seen Sex Eddy with escorts. Sorry. Maybe that didn't come out properly. I'll start that again. No, so again, I'm at some of these shows, and there might be all you can drink and all you can eat, and again, Sexy Eddy likes to indulge in fun stuff, and so sometimes I overindulge, and I just wanted to go down to the ringside and say hi to one of my buddies that I'd wrestled with a bunch of times. I was like, oh, Eddie Kingston's match. Let me go say
Oh
hi.
yeah.
So I kind of just jumped over the little the hockey rink, onto the ice. Basically, there was no ice on it, but I jumped onto where the ice onto the floor, and I was going towards the ring, and I just wanted to say good match and talk to my buddy and stuff. Again, I forgetting this is like if it's a TV event or not, and I'm drinking a little bit, but yeah. Then the security came around me, and then they kind of yeah, they were bringing me out, and then the crowd started chanting. everyone was chanting. And so one of the agents, and this is a true story, one of the guys at the security group is like, "Hey, are you part of the show?" And then I just said, I didn't lie. I just said, "What do you think?" But everybody chanting my name. And like, I was, oh boy. And I say, like, look, I gotta get back on TV here, I gotta do my and so they brought me right back in. They went out all around and brought me right back in. So, it looked like I was royalty or someone important. But yeah, that was the true story. I mean, if people wouldn't have been yelling that loud, I don't know what would have happened. But they saw me kind of going down, and who knows? With wrestling, sometimes you think it could be part of an angle and stuff like that. I was just wanted to say hi to my buddy, give him a handshake. But things happen, and so I got back in. I got the red carpet after that, and I think they even gave me some drink coupons, which I did not need after that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are you a part of the show? What do you think? Because you're not lying there, but
It's safe. It's safe. That
yeah.
came right out of my mouth. But again, with all the years of wrestling, where they give you a microphone sometimes or do a promo, I was on, and I said that. You would have said anything else, and it wouldn't have sounded just with the confidence and the attitude. I was like, because again, when the crowd cheers, any performer will tell you that is the best feeling ever. So the crowd was cheering. I wasn't even wrestling. I didn't have to take a bump or nothing, but they're cheering, and and it does give you a little warm fuzzy feeling inside, because it does mean that you're appreciated. It does mean that people have been to independent wrestling shows, and it's fun to hear that. So you know what? Even though, yeah, at TNA Slammiversary, I was a little embarrassed because I just didn't want. It was during a match that was happening, that they were cheering, and I kind of thought, again, in one side of me, it's disrespectful for the wrestlers that are wrestling in the ring, but people just started chanting. I did not have control. I did not have a neon sign that said applause pointing and stuff. I did not have any of that. Again, I was just ringside and then having a couple beverages, and then so they started going. So but again, take it in, enjoy it. We enjoy life. It's just still a great moment. A little bit embarrassed, but it's easier to embarrass me, I find out, when I'm wearing clothes. When I'm in my hair, you can't embarrass me. I've wrestled naked, so you know what I mean. Nothing that could embarrass me ever in life. Anything that'll happen, all I got to remember is, like, man, I was in front of people butt naked, a lot of people, and on Twitch and streams and all this stuff. And you know what? So that's it. So I'm not embarrassed. There I was a little bit embarrassed, but if I'm in my underwear, man, you know what? I can do anything.
Yeah. So for we talked about TNA, AEW, now back to IWS. On Saturday, again at Seasons Beatings, there was a ladder match, 4 tag teams, one of them being the Sexy Beasts with you and the Animal Bob Anger. Unfortunately, you guys lost your titles. Still a great match, though. One of the craziest moments, I think it was one of the members from TDT did a dive onto all the other wrestlers, and unfortunately missed. I was front row, so I saw it all. I was in shock. I thought he might have broken his neck or something. And the rest of the building's chanting, "Sexy Eddy." What was going through your head at that moment?
Well, I just, again, the safety of my one of my opponents there, and a good friend, and I've had a lot of great matches with Thomas Dubois and Mathieu Saint Jacques. So you never want to see anyone like get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, we're working together to put on a great show. But sometimes people take risks. Sometimes accidents can happen. Sometimes there's slip ups, things like that. So um, Thomas is on the top rope and he does a backflip with the ladder, and he went really high, but not as far as he would have liked to. And it could have ended a lot worse. And I think what happened in the end, like, again, you get bumps and scrapes and bruises and stuff, but no one broke anything, and that's what matters the most. Uh, Again, it always could have ended a lot more scarier and a lot worse, but it didn't, and that's what matters. He did get a little bit of it into us that he was able to come back into the ring, and we were all down. And yeah, we don't have the titles, but maybe live to fight another day.
Yeah, well, I was super worried about him. I was hoping he was okay. And we all love you, Sexy Eddie, but the fans, it wasn't the right time to be chanting your name.
I don't know. People just don't know what to say, and they just Eddie, and I don't know. I don't know. It just starts like that, and I have no clue. Like, I could be on the ground. I'm like, we got hit with the ladder. I'm on the ground. I'm writhing in pain, and people are chanting my name. I don't know what you want me to do down there, but so that's again, it tells a lot that the fans are appreciative and that know how much we've given to this. I've given more than half of my life to
Mhm.
professional wrestling, and that's just the wrestling part. I mean, I was a fan way before also. That's how any wrestler becomes a wrestler. It's because they start off as a fan. And that's the thing. I mean, a couple exceptions. Some guys might be gifted athletes and they get a big contract and that's it. But everyone's had some experiences, some stories of wrestling. I used to get to stay up late with my dad on Saturday night's main event when I was young. It was once a
Mm.
month, and that was the one time I could stay up and of the month with my dad. And it was like, so that was a cool moment. So already that we liked wrestling. I just became a fan. So, but to be doing this for more than half my life, I'm grateful for that. Again, there's been a lot of ups and downs, like there always is, but that's the whole part of the learning game of life. And if we can take some of that knowledge that we know and impart it to the younger generation of wrestlers coming up, it might save them a couple months, a couple years before they can get to their goal of where they need to go. So if we can all help each other out, I think that you know it's just gonna again come back full circle, and it's great to see the wrestling world right now is not the same like when I explained to you when I started wrestling and they're asking us to bump on the floor to try and detract you from becoming a wrestler because they want to show you how tough it is and this and that instead of now it's more inclusive, and I feel that there's wrestlers. It doesn't matter your shape or your size. There's always something you could do. Characters you can do. Which you got certain sports that if you're not a certain body type, you won't be on the top of your game, and that's just physically how it is. But in wrestling, you got so many different characters, and if you can do what you do best, whatever that is in life. If you have a background in ballet, or you have a like you can be graceful more in the ring. If you have a background in powerlifting, well, there you go. Already you're going to be lifting. You got your size. Even if you're a chess grandmaster champion, using that strategy or your promos might show that where you're always a step ahead of your opponent. So whatever you've done in life can translate into wrestling, which makes it so beautiful. And more and more people are trying to help each other because instead of seeing other wrestlers as that guy is going to take my spot, but if we all wrestled the exact same way and he had no character, then that might be the case. But there's so much room for diversity right now that no, everyone is different. And although you'll have other versions of Sexy Eddie in different federations and all around, and like you'll have different versions of certain types of wrestlers, like the strongest wrestler, the smartest wrestler, the most hated wrestler. You know what? But it all comes down to you take a little bit of what inspires you, and then you find yourself and create yourself, and your character will flourish from there. So again, we all started by being fans of certain wrestlers, and that showed a lot in my work. But as I developed and as I realized I got to find my character in all this, my favorite, taking from my favorite characters, that I was able to get a distinct path, and that when people will talk about a certain spot or something, they'll be like, "Oh, that's a Sexy Eddie thing." So it's really awesome to hear other guys, and again, like I say, other wrestlers that maybe I didn't know, and they said, "Hey, I was in the arena when you did this match, this cage, this show." And I really liked your energy, and I thought it was so cool, and that made me start wrestling classes. So for that, for what I'm getting to do, and for the knowledge that I can share with other people, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Moving on to one of probably my favorite questions I asked you during the last interview.
Oh, what's my favorite cheese? That's it, right?
Your favorite? I don't remember asking that
That's
one.
a terrible question. Forget
Well,
that
what is your favorite cheese?
one. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with simple. I think strong cheddar. I like that. It's not too crazy, but whenever I'm a little piece of that, sometimes a couple cubes, just because I want to taste the cheese. So strong cheddar. Sorry, let's get to the real question you were gonna say.
Before we ask that, I have to say my favorite cheese is the French Normandy cheese. Have you ever tried that?
That's a little too fancy for my taste, I think.
Oh, I always only get them when they're on sale. I'm like a little bit cheap.
No, that's not cheap. That's frugal. That's smart. That's the sexy anyway. Another sexy Eddyism that people will tell you about is like when they're backstage and they say, "Hey, there's a lot of catering here. There's a lot of food or something. I'm gonna do a sexy Eddy." That means you got Tupperware already in your bag and you're putting food in there. So that's another I think a phrase that some people have coined. We're at a gas station or somewhere and like, oh, Eddie's doing a sexy Eddy, and I'm talking nice to a person to try and get it or something like that. So anyways, that's another thing that. But again, when you're on the road and starting out, you got to save money left and right, and in everything that you do. So the next time you do invite me over, I'm gonna have some of that French Normandy cheese. It'll be a pleasure.
Absolutely, and I'll definitely do that too anytime I'm anywhere at a friend's house, at a family friend's house, or hopefully when I start wrestling in catering, just taking any type of food, putting it in my backpack.
You know,
I'll blame you if I get in trouble
it's
though.
no, but there's sometimes I know I can't eat before my match, and some
Mhm,
people. And if I'm, let's say, too late on the card, all the good food's going to be gone. So I
mhm.
just prepare my care package beforehand. That's all it is. I'm just, it's out there for everyone. I'm just preparing my stuff in advance. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, it doesn't change anything if you eat it now or later either, so.
Exactly. Right? I got to explain to people, hey, I'm not being cheap or nothing. I'm just being sexy Eddie.
Yeah, I don't know how we got there, but now this is my favorite part of the interview.
Yes, let's do it.
But now for the favorite part of the last interview, one of the best questions that I really enjoyed your answer to. It was something that happened in 2022. Every single time fans would message you with ridiculous questions, you would send them ridiculous responses and post them on Instagram and social media. Like, firstly, how do they even come up with these questions? How does it happen so much? Why does it happen so much?
I didn't know what was real or not. And then when I was people were saying, "Oh, these are bots, these are trolls," all these new words that I learned years later after everyone else knew these terms. I don't know. I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." So, yeah, I was like, you know what? Again, I think yeah, like you said, it was probably during the pandemic where there wasn't as much stuff to do. So I was just trying to make funny content because if I perform in a ring, I'll at least do some silliness online, and then people could still have a laugh. And I'd have some people write me like, "Dude, I saw what you posted. It cracked me up. It made my day. Thanks a lot." And that's all I needed to keep doing that stuff. So some people, again, when they, when they say there's no stupid question, uh,
Oh.
and and I know we've seen a lot. There's a ton of stupid questions. So if you're gonna give me a super stupid question, I'm gonna give you a super stupid, sexy Eddie, silly answer, and that's what it is. There are some questions that need to be asked, but when it gets that dumb, I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to do something dumb. So that's we're having. I'm making myself laugh, and if I'm making myself laugh, I know I'm making other people laugh too.
Yeah, well, like you said, some questions need to be asked, and others need to be posted to make people laugh.
There you go.
So, one big misconception about wrestling is that it's fake. You've done some crazy stuff, so you should know more than anyone that it is not fake. How do you respond to people when they say that, though?
Oh, well, good question here. I'm going to pick up my phone for this. Let me just unscrew here. And I can show you, like, again, fake, not fake. Um, here's if you get a
Oh,
view,
wow.
here's my barbed wire bat that I wrestled with Sabu, former ECW legend.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
again, I didn't. want anything to be fake about it. It's hard to get a close up, but you can only appreciate it when it's rolling on your back or on your chest, and you get hit with that in the stomach. That's when you appreciate the pain and everything. Um, and again, the injuries are real too. We're trying to do a show. Again, whenever somebody says about a fake question, it's just kind of, it's like, okay, they obviously didn't do their homework and they
Mhm.
don't know what they're talking about. So then there's a good example of a stupid question when someone be like, is this fake? And then you know what? Wow, any wrestler, you'll set them off. And
Mm.
because usually they're just trying to get a certain reaction from that wrestler. They're trying to get something out of them. And so, you know what? You ask that question like to some people, and they will give you a long, crazy answer. And yeah, that's something too that I would jump into. If people would go, hey, is it fake? And then I would start, I don't know, I'd pull down my pants probably, say, is this fake? And I grab their hand, put it on my crotch. Is this fake? Do you feel that? You feel that pain? You know, and I'll just go off on them. They won't know what's going on. But that's why you have to be able to answer some questions, with thought, like this interview. A lot of thought put into it. But when you do get sometimes some questions, but even not even in an interview, but in a question where they didn't do a homework on the person that they're doing, and it's like that's another really important thing. You can see when people just want to rile up a reaction instead of actually getting an interview. So all that to say, yeah, when they say it's fake, I mean, look, we've got the injuries to prove it, and you know, people could say whatever they want to say. Uh, I think when I was younger, I might have wanted to defend wrestling a little more, where I was like, hey, we got to defend this. You know what? No, this is how, what I tell people is like, um, these are my next dates. Come to that show, sit back, enjoy it like you're watching a movie. You'll tell me after what you thought of it. Is it still fake? Was it fun? Was it some parts that looked real and some, you tell me after that. That's the easiest way to convince a hater. And if the person says, no, I'm not going to waste my time with that. Okay, well, I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you. You can tell some people that, you can talk about that they'll still believe the earth is flat. And if they want to believe the earth is flat, I mean, like, you know what? All the power to you. I mean, good. So just make sure not to walk off the edge, okay? Just watch out when you're on a boat or something like that. Don't walk off the edge. But that's all. Some people, you can't convince them of anything. They're stuck in their ways. So once you see that, and I've spoken to enough people, enough fans, enough people that hate wrestling, and the best way to convince them is to come see you perform in a show, and don't ask if it's fake or real. Ask, did you have fun or did you not have fun? And then that's from there on, then we could have a conversation. There we could have a proper debate.
Mhm. What we talked about earlier was, the blood gushing out of your arm, and you said it was just like watching a horror movie. Speaking of movies, the IWS recently announced just on Saturday the documentary being made on them. Think the trailer is going out to the public on sometime over the weekend. I'm not exactly sure. But how long has this been going on? What are your thoughts? What are everyone else's thoughts?
I was so excited because I thought maybe the project had been canned. Sometimes you don't know how many movie scripts don't see the light of day because they just they end there. There's like not enough money, not enough of interest, or maybe something that's too similar to it. So there's all these reasons that could cause that something doesn't happen. And we had filmed for a long time, for months. And then they even came back months later to film more stuff. They came to my job. They were in my house. They drove with us to going to Toronto when we wrestled GCW. And then they came. They were filming all downtown Montreal when we were wrestling for IWS again versus GCW, big show. And that was the whole story culminating of like about a year of footage and this and that. And then they still needed more material. So, I mean, I'll tell you the truth, I was sad that I was thinking that maybe it's not going to happen. But at least that clip made everything like, wow, okay, all that work we gave, we'll see what they use. There might
Mhm.
not be one. There will be a shot of SeXXXy Eddy because I did see myself in the trailer, but there might not be a lot. You don't know what they're going to use. You don't know what paths they're going to choose to go with. They got days and days of footage, and
Mhm.
they got to condense that and compress it into, I don't know if it's a couple episodes or if it's a 1 90-minute movie documentary. So whatever they decide to do with it, if they decide to break it down in chapters and talk about the personas, talk about the storylines, talk about the hardships. There's so many different paths that you can go to when you're talking about wrestling and our road to becoming a wrestler. So again, I'm excited. That was just a teaser trailer. I think
Mhm.
we're going to know more in the near future. And again, hopefully, maybe now after people see that, there'll be even more people chanting "SeXXXy Eddy," and then I'll get more gold. Who knows?
Absolutely. Well, Sexy Eddie, thank you so much. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I do have one final question for you, which I do for every single person I have on this. For someone like me who wants to become a professional wrestler, what is your best advice?
So my best advice has always been it's be confident in yourself. Just go for it. Go for it. If somebody would be like, there's 10 kids in the class, and they're like, okay, who wants to do this drill first? I tended to be maybe more staying in the back, maybe going in the middle, but it's like, hey, try it out. Try it out first. Like, go, give it. If there's opportunities, take them. Take them.
Mhm.
Uh, that you're only going to learn from them. So like just believe in yourself and believe in your abilities, and anything that you're really good at, showcase that, show that. Anything that's unique, show it. If you there's some things you need to work on. If your forearms don't look too good, then don't do forearms. Do something else, but like work on them in the same time, just so
Mhm.
that when you do have to use that, show that in a match, it'll look good. So yeah, be confident and work hard in whatever you do, not just wrestling, but whatever you do. And it's going to show in the work that you put in, and the dedication that you put into something, that it'll reflect on your performances and stuff. So yeah, that's the best advice that I think I can give. And if you do become, I don't know how long I'll be staying in this, but then if you are in the wrestling world and I am too, then there's gonna be a match set up for sure. You know.
Oh, yeah. I'd love for that to happen. Thank you so much for that advice. Great advice. And thank you so much for doing another interview with me. I had a blast just like the other one, and I can confidently say this one was definitely better.
Awesome, and as long as this one doesn't get erased too, you know, let's just just wish for all the good stuff for everyone during the happy holidays, and I especially hope that this interview does not get deleted.
Mhm.
Delete, delete.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Abby. I hope you have a great day, Sexy Eddie. I'll
Thank you.
see you at the next IWS show for sure.
Yes, rock and roll, baby. Woo!